This stuff here in Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article Oz Bardishim Radaf Yud Amral from the third line down. Tam and Tninon. And in the Vilna, that is on Daf Ches Amrav. And it is a little further down the page. 3, 6, 9, 10 lines down. Tam and Tninon. Okay, we're talking about Tumah Dara. Talmudin about Chavishul Truma. You have a jug full of Truma Shnol B'Safik Tuma. So you have a Safik Tuma concerning this jug. If it was in a place where it was in danger of being lost, being destroyed, being somehow ruined. So the put in place to safeguard it. If it was uncovered, then cover it. In other words, you have to take extra special precautions. As the Korban says, you're still required to protect it. Yeah, the safeguarding of my trumas. The person about two tumas, echos Torah, whether it's Torah mamish, echos even if it's dangling, in other words, it's suffix. We have to be safeguard them from further deterioration. Whereas Rabbi Shomer, the opposite, if till now was in a safeguard place, put in a place where in a trufa, Bob it says turpa, and she discloses it says turpa, but here it says trufa. It's lashon rifyon, right? A softer place. And if it was covered, yigal lena, you should reveal it. So the Korban explains, trufa. If you want, you can cause it to become tumah. And of course, you can burn it. Because somebody holds yesh ein lemasoires. The way we look at the bus of the way it's written, not the way it's verbalized. Utrumasi, see below above. It doesn't say trumosai, it says trumasi. If it's the way it's written, granted it's read trumosai, but it's written trumasi, and therefore it means only one type of truma requires mishmeres, which is trumatera, not truma, which is teluya. It says don't change anything, right? On one hand, you don't have to preserve it, but then on the other hand, don't cause it to become tummy. From all three, we learned you can't burn it. Okay, but even Rabbi Yeshua, who's most lenient, he says you can just leave it. The place is going to get ruined further, and perhaps when it becomes tummy, you can burn it. But as is right now, you're not allowed to burn it. Chavrai Shem Lezer said, Chavis Rishona is Rabbi Yossi. Actually, it says Chavis. No, just Chavis Rabbi Yossi. It's Korban puts the word Asya. So he Chavis Rishona says Korban. Hay Chavis Shalom Basafik Tuma. The time Bereshim Aslis in Trumas. The Divrei Kol Ein Sorvenosa. The Chavis in which there's a suffix to Tuma, where you, as we just said, everybody agrees you can't burn. Rabbi Yossi asks Rabbi Yossi Misan Hacha. So Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah, the Amar Moed Rabbi Yossi should serve in Zula Atzma. I think it's supposed to, it's a typo there, and the Korban is supposed to murder Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yoshua. Hold on a second, let's check that. Yes, in the article, in fact, it's changed to Rabbi Yoshua. So Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yoshua both concede should serve in Zula Atzma. By the time the Sefer on Nechleku, and that which it says at the Sefer, that they on Tluya and Tmeya, that's Rabbi Shimon. It's a different Tana. But Rabbi Yeshua says, Rabbi Shimon says, they can both be burnt together. But the Rabbi Yossi says that no, both Rabbi Yeshua holds that Tmeya and Tluya, they can't be burnt together. Okay, Chavis Shana ke Rabbi Yossi. Hashnia Rabbi Meir. The second one. So the Korban says, what's the second one? Put the Chavis Shana b'sefer the Trumas. No, not our case. Case in Trumas. which we already spoke about though yesterday. It's the jug which broke in the upper wine press. The lower wine press. Both could teach that's still manner of Betara. You can save Revius in Betara Yatzil. You would save it. If you not let it go down and become Tame. And I not be Batami with be a dime. It was sure mer afi tamena biyadi. You can even Batami be a dime in order to save it becoming mixed up with the chulin flame in the lower wine press. Zukre mer. This is going to be mer the mata tama be a dime. This who allows you to be matami a dime came with soft libut since eventually it's going to be lost anyway. Okay, that's that statement of Rabbi Yeshua. That you can be matami a dime, it's going to be lost anyway. That's going to be mer, and it's like mer in our Mishnah who said, "By Pesach nami lemutza tamba, you can be matami truma tahera and burn with the truma tmeya because came assembly because it's going to be lost anyway." Okay, the Chevraya, the Chevraya said, "Chavish Yishon Rabbi Yosi." Chavish Yishon, you're right. That's like Rabbi Yosi. We got that. But the lace Rabbi Meir Moitaba. He adds that upon that Rabbi Meir does not concede the point. Let's see in the Rabbi Blazer Chavis Yishon Rabbi Yosi Hainu Daf Rabbi Yosi below Rabbi Meir. The Rabbi Meir came to become sofa the ibud since it found out it's going to be lost, right? The Chavis which has a suffix tuma sarfinosa. You can burn it. Oh, tremendous chiddush. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua both said he can't burn it as long as it's tluya, and Rabbi Gamliel either. All three, right? We said before. Divrei shloish done tluya asa seifa. Says the Chevraya say, yeah, but not Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir since seifa ibud you can't burn it. Okay, so that is their chiddush. And going on to the next line, Chavetz hashniya Rabbi Meir. The second, the chavis like Remeir, the lace Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi would not concede the point. And let's see in the court made as well. Look, Rabbi Yossi. Yes, I feel less ibud asla abda. Even it's going to be lost, it can't be madam and be a dime. No permit, even called Rabbi Yeshua. So Rabbi says the chavis near Rabbi Yeshua, who says it can be a dime if it's going to go down to the lower wine press and going to get the truma and the chulin going to mixed up. If the time the upper one be a dime, it stopped the truma from going down into the chulin tmeim. Rabbi Yeshua might say that, but that's Rabbi Yossi would not agree to that. Okay, see, Amar Lon Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi da Moira said to the Chevraya, Chamun matan omin. See if what you're saying is correct. But check out what you're saying. Chavetz Rishon Rabbi Yossi. You said the Chavetz Rishon is like Rabbi Yossi. Okay, and therefore it's now have to burn the tluya within Meir. But around Rabbi Meir, Seifin. But Rabbi Meir, you're contending that you do burn them. Even I'm sorry. Chavetz Rishon is like Rabbi Yossi, and therefore the truma tluya you can't burn. But you're saying Krei Meir, you want to say the Krei Meir, you could burn it, surfing. And like we mentioned before, but it's seen explicitly action later on, Rabbi Shimon surfing. Like Rabbi Shimon, we burn as well. So if that's the case, according to you, Yirbu Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Shimon, let Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon be a majority, our Rabbi Yossi against Rabbi Yossi, the Yisrof. And let's paskin, they could burn it, right? Why in our Mishnah? Not our Mishnah. It's the Pnei Moshe says. We don't hold this way. Which you actually enumerated previously. Which you burn truma. If somebody definitely touched him who was Safik Tame, but you shar Svekas, but other Svekas tolling. We met the totally surfing. So we see that that's not true. The Mishnah Tara says that you can't burn truma tluya. So, but according to you, that's not. It should be yes. We have majority of Tanoim Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon, who hold you be sorif. So therefore, the Mishnah Tara Shapaskin can be sorif truma tluya, and yet the Stam Mishnah says you don't burn truma tluya. Can't be. Now the words next word on shaminan minadah. The Yerushalmi Pesachim takes that from here and puts later on. So let's follow his perspective here. Mimad ana chamen rabbanin uvdin uvda, and that which you see when that the rabbanin when they do a maisa, right? And as kameon, well, actually, mad ana chamen rabbanin uvda as kameon should be probably. Like the Shneus says, Asi Kameo. When you see a story, a mice in front of them, Vinami Izu Tali, they say, go be toilet. So, it's, I'm not sure, I guess like the Pnei Moshe, right? The Ov Shamina Minara means there's a Mishnah in Taros, and then there's this Maisa, which we know, La Maisa, that we know the Chachamim always say to be Toila and not to be burned, that we don't paskin like this opinion, which we should paskin like if it's a majority Chachamim. According to Yerushalmi Pesachim, actually, probably he's not going with that Mishnah Torah saying, well, what the Mishnah Torah says, whatever it says, that's could be we have evidence there, but the Maisa, the Gemara is bringing from here a question on the Chevraya, saying, well, Chevraya, if you're right, it can't be. So therefore, you can't be right. Okay, so again, if we do have the Ode, Shmina Minadah, it means we have two pieces of evidence that we don't paskin like the Chevraya. One is from the Perek Dav Taros, another is from what we see in the Maisa. If you leave out Ode Shmina Minadah, so then we don't have to come out. We don't not necessarily citing the Mishnah Taros. We're just citing this Lamaisa, which we see. I want to say to be Toila and not to be Sorif. Okay, hey Nashkon Rabbi Shimon Omer Sorfin. So where do we find that Shimon's the one who says Sorfin? So it's the last line in our Mishnah, as we mentioned yesterday. Hadad itnina, that which we said, Moed Rabbi Lezer B'Shua Shes Sorfin Zul Atzma B'Zula Atzma. So Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Shanya. Rabbi Shimon is the one who learnt it. That was on the last line. That's really going. Should have been a v'chule there. I think because we're not going to that line of etc. We're going to the last line. We should meshtain ka'achas. We burn both together. And I think the Pnei Moshe makes that point. I'm not sure actually changes the girsa here. But the court made it change the girsa. Okay. So I think you sure meshtain ka'achas. Right, so he does bring it down explicitly there. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Shania. Rabbi Shimon learned to say, Rabbi Shimon Tanya, so Rabbi Yisrael. Like he had said previously. So I have a little off next to my Gemara, and I probably meant to put it in, but I didn't actually change the Gemara to be like, didn't amend my Gemara to put in we should learn carbon Ada, but have to learn carbon Ada. Now the Yerushalmi Pesachim puts in the words he took it before of Ochamin Minado over here. Before the next line, in Tamar. Even if you don't put him in, it's as if it says it because we're trying to prove something. And we're trying to prove is that Ray Meir also does not hold like the Chavraya. He doesn't hold that you could just burn Tluya. It's only Rabbi Shimon Shita. Right? Meir does not hold that way. So in Tamar, let's start being Meir Tluya. If you're going to say Meir does not hold Tluya, but in other words, he holds you just allowed to burn it outright, like Rabbi Shimon seems to say. So, and the Chavraya seem to say. Tani, didn't we learn? Well, the Chavrai seemed to say, the Chavrai said. The Chavrai said explicitly. So the Tani, did we learn? Truma Tluya, here it says Tahira, but the Korban Eda changes it Utmeya. Truma Tluya Utmeya, serving us some Erev Shabbos im Chashecha. Now, the case of Erev Shabbos im Chashecha says, according to the Korban Eda, serving us some Gimel Menisam, some Chashecha im Chayil Dab Shabbos. We can't burn it on the 14th, you only burn on the 13th, you can burn it on the 13th, but only some Chashecha. At that point, you can burn the truma tluya with the tmeya. V'isal kadaita, you're going to say the servant the mutal abdo yadayim holds like the Chraya said that you can just burn tluya outright, like Rabbi Shimon Shita. Why does it have to wait till nightfall? Why does it wait till right before nightfall on Yud Gimel Erev Shabbos? Yitzafena kozman shiyartza. Let him burn any time. Shimon said hold you burn by the time. El badi tzayim raimer the tluya also have them yadayim that you can't destroy tluya. Elab Erev Pesach Shani, except in Erev Pesach, the Mechuyav L'Sarfa when you're required to burn it because of Bir Chametz. Chachamim take even a step further. Chachamim omrim, Bismano. You can't even burn Erev Shabbos in Chashecha. You have to wait till you daven in the morning, even though you daven Shabbos, and then be invited in one of the ways you're allowed to be invited the Chametz on Shabbos. Flush it down the toilet, whatever you can do. Because maybe it's going to become bored that it's you don't know if he's going to come or somebody's going to come and tell you that it's really tar, and you can eat it. So therefore, you can't even burn Erev Shabbos in Chashecha, Erev Yudalit. You have to wait till Yudalit in the morning and be invited. One of the ways you invite your regular chametz. So Gemara is going to try and salvage this for the Chevraya, and there are two very different shadim in the Korban Eid and how it salvages it, although they come out similarly in the end. The Gemara says, "Amrabi Zaria." I think here says Ezra, also here on the bottom, Mishuna is close. Rabbi Ezra Kumirai Mona, Tipata Betluya Shein Datul Shashilah. Saying, that which Rameir distinguishes between two types of Tluya. There's Tluya, and I'm going to first tell you Korban and Ben Moshe. The Tluya where the Tluya which you burn and can burn, Rameir, is one where you have no intent of being matir neder on it. That means to be shoel chacham and ask him to be mati or neder by which you made a truma. Because there's already an eitzah by truma tluya to be mati or neder, and to get chacham to nullify the vow by which you made the truma. Now it becomes chulin again, and then you can eat it. So therefore, the mayor says you can only burn Erev Shabbos and Chashecha is when you had it's truma where you had das lishoel, and of course. Not show, not mati neder on Shabbos unless it's Tzarech Shabbos, but so therefore I guess when Shabbos is about to begin, so therefore you're not going to be showing. Even you had in mind to be showing, but you're not going to be showing anymore. So therefore, the saying is again. That's one that you burn, and this one which Meir said. No, you can't burn it yet. It's when we had Dasli Shoel, and maybe we didn't Shoel, but right before Chasher and Erev Shabbos, that's it, it's finished. According to Rabbi Pnei Moshe, the Dasli Shoel means he wants to ask a She'ela Schacham, not be Shoel on the neder, be matir the neder. He wants to be Shoel whether it's mutter or not. He has a Shiloh. Maybe it's not really Tluya, maybe it's mutter, maybe it's Torah. So therefore, he's saying that Tluya which you're not allowed to burn until Mamish before Shabbos, that is the truma which you can ask a shiloh. The truma you don't have to ask a shiloh that you can't that you can burn right away. It's a little bit difficult to play Moshe's shot, in my opinion. Is why we should not always ask a question. Of course, ask a question. So what do you mean? That's show. We always ask a question. So even though the article is to play Moshe's shot, I like to record it shot better. The question is, the issue is whether you intend to be matir neder or not be matir neder. And obviously, be matir neder is not so simple. Okay, so but either way, so let's see more. So what Tluya do you burn the way you don't have das intent to be shoel? Amarle, he said, you're right. Maybe it's saying similar. The whole tluya that you burn is the tluya we didn't have a mind to be shoyl. It's Torah. In other words, it's din. It's like Truma Torah, and you're not allowed to burn it. Not allowed to burn it. V'taniken, we learned also in a brisa, the Sefta and Trumas. Truma tluya amru taherahi. Shomatari Klomar says the Korbanei Klomar Shamur Abayim Truma Ma'ayasi. It says good truma of Ochla Peros, and they ate the fruit. Shenas is Truma Alein, right? So She'ev Shali Shoyaleh. That's if you have Tuma Tluya, where they said it's Torah, meaning at the they used it. It's a little bit difficult lashon to after, but they already ate the fruit on which they made this truma. So therefore, then you can't be shoyl anymore, because if you shoyl on it, then it comes out retroactively it was tevel, that what you ate. So in this case, harezu tmeo. It's this truma, even though it's tluya, it's like it's tamei, and therefore you can burn it, like Reb Meir says. That's right, Meir. This bites right, Meir. Imamar, if he said, I'm leaving it around in the to be shoyal. Evidently, I guess the stuff in which he made a truma is still around, and therefore it didn't eat it yet, and so it wouldn't be over in the Isser Teva. So therefore, it's leaving it around to check it out. So then, in that case, or to check it out, or to be shoyal matineder, so then that tluya has the status of Torah, and you can't burn that tluya. Okay, so now I'm going to ask, okay, my kadun, and let's go with Korban 8 again, but my mixul hachbrais is starving tluya be'erev sham sechashecha. What's the case where you said you burned the and we alluded to this a few minutes ago already, with which what's the brais about when you're starving tluya be'erev sham sechashecha? When you had in mind to be shoyal, either like Korban to be mataneder, like the Moshe to ask a shayla, it came almost sorrowful. Why are you burning it? Below shoyla. Why did you burn it when you shoyal previously? So it was Babat. You could say you didn't get around to it, but the one gives a different answer. Mora says shenola safik tumeim didu mechama. It became tame right as the sun was setting, so it was not time to go be mataneder, or there's not time to go ask questions. Therefore, just go out and burn it immediately, because no, you don't have time to get to chacham. There's another pshat here in the carbonator, but we'll stick with the first pshat. In any event, after all is said and done, could be the shmei min haklum would have been better beforehand, before the Maikadun, because the Maikadun seems to go off on a little bit of a tangent. So, but in any event, we don't have raya against Chavraya from here. Trying to bring a raya against Chavraya, the Remeir holds that tluya can't burn. No, you can burn tluya. It depends what kind of tluya. Tluya shein dat tluya shoyla, you can burn. Okay, so now we're going to attack the second statement of the Chavraya. The second statement of the Chavraya was that the Chavis Shniya Chavis Shniya means that when you have the upper wine press and lower wine press, you can stop the Truma Torah from going down into the Chulin Tmeim in the lower wine press. So we said, Chavraya said it's only Rabbi Meir, not like Rabbi Yossi. Right? Rabbi Yossi would not allow you to do that. Says Gemara, oh yeah? You so sure about that? Okay, so Gemara says, Atu no mean, and here we have to change the Giyasa like the Korban does, and the Grow evidently in Trumos. He says, like we had it before. Well, that's not true. Vatani, and we're going to change the Giyasa like Gilin Shas does as well. The next line, he departs Korban and says we have to change the Giyasa here. And Yerushalmi Pesachim does as well. But Tani, do we learn by Medvar Amurim? When it's true that can be metame the truma in the gasel yoina, that in other words, you can stop with your hoptame and going down into the chulin tameim. But bor, And here's the change gears says she'ain bukdei lalos, a bor where the chulin tamaim could not be mevatel the truma when it goes down into the truma, when the truma goes down, which is 100 to 1. Aval bebor, again changing gears, sheyesh bukdei lalos, where you can where it can be mevatel the truma. So then you'll have just a chulin tmeim, because the chulin tmeim is going to be mevatel the truma. I feel close to a sotamus. You're not allowed, even in whatever way, you're not allowed to be matami the truma, right? So they have to just let it go down and let it be batel. It's not a problem. Let it be batel, right? You can't stop it by putting impediment away. Now, if it's going right mayor, if you Rav Meir, and Rav Meir holds anytime the truma is going to ibud, you can be matame it. There's no like the truma, you can burn it. Who bor sheish b'telos? Who bor shein b'telos? What difference does it make? The truma is going to be lost anyway, right? It's going to be lost because it's going to become tamei, or it's going to be lost because it's going to become batel. So therefore, just stop it, because no one's going to be truma. It's going to be always truma. It's a very lomdish idea, right? It's going to be it's chalei shem truma. It's how many shape or form. So therefore, just what's the issue? Why is it also tamos? It's halich liibud. The mutzer be b'tameit. So you can make again who bar sheish b'leos, who bar shein b'leos. So I feel kosher also tamos. You not to be b'tameit. So it must be. Who's the one who's telling you that this chiluk? If you hold this chiluk in the scenario between where yesh b'leos and when yesh b'leos, you can't be metamed b'yadayim, even in a minor way. That's got to be Rabbi Yossi, and it must be Rabbi Yossi is matir you, where the truma is going to be definitively become tamei. He says there, okay, you can be matzah b'tuma. He says if it can be batel, so then let it become batel, and don't be metamed, even in a minor way. But so clearly Rabbi Yossi holds of this, because according to Rav Meir, it should be even allowed to time anyway. It's going to go be lost anyway. So therefore, this, on the contrary, you said it's going like Meir and not like Rabbi Yossi. I'm telling you, because this by Medvar Mamurim, that it's going like Rabbi Yossi and not like Rabbi Meir. I'm going to ask another question, but I feel kosher also the time most of the way I said, you know, be time in a minute way. The Moshe says now at the time even a minute amount of truma, but it's the same imports. Doesn't make a difference. Okay, so that is the first question, and of course we have now another question, but we're ready on Yud Aleph Hamrao, so leave the second question for tomorrow.